Joseph Glazer is running for state assembly. If you elect him, Joe Glazer will be your assemblyman in the new 102nd Assembly District. Joseph Glazer is meeting everybody in the new Assembly District and explaining one of the most insidious and painful forms of taxation, state mandates. State mandates are a convenient way for the state to shift the cost of providing services from the broad statewide tax base to the regressive county property tax base.
Joe Glazer, running for the New York State Assembly, 102nd Assembly District.
The state does this by ordering counties to provide programs that the county does not want, and especially in these times cannot afford. The local government has no control over the programs and must pay a portion of the cost by raising your local property taxes. The hidden costs of state mandates are driving up real property taxes, which drives out business and is wiping out the farming industry in New York State.
And working together to motivate people to get more out of government. For the last couple of years, we've been working with a coalition of local community people and farmers and business people, trying to motivate them and help them really deal with their state legislators on a different basis.
Joe Glazer has been fighting against state mandates for some time. As legislative director and a lawyer representing the New York State Association of Counties, Joe has led the effort to halt New York State's assault on local government and the taxpayers. However, much more remains to be done. People are drowning under a tax burden that is consuming billions of dollars with no signs of fiscal improvement. People are angry and tired of hidden taxes, financial gimmicks, and closed backroom deals. Last November, ordinary citizens sent a message to government, and 200 public officials were thrown out of office. Incumbents were defeated, and Democrats won in places where Republicans had historically governed, and vice versa. Joe Glazer is running for office not only because of his desire to continue the fight against state mandates, but also because the people of the 102nd Assembly District need a new voice and are demanding better representation.
Get out the message.
Joe Glazer is running for office because our elderly need care with dignity and should not have to hide their savings to qualify for that care. New York State promised to relieve taxpayers from the cost of Medicaid 10 years ago. Well, today we are still suffering from skyrocketing Medicaid costs, especially in small, economically distressed rural communities. Joe Glazer insists that this must change.
That's one of the biggest problems we've been seeing every place is the cost of administration in state government. Over and over and over. Forms that you have to supply which are not intended for use by people like you, but there's no other option. There's this cure-all mentality in which they see a problem in one area of the state and therefore everybody in the state has to do it.
Joe knows our Assembly District needs job development and better opportunities for job training and retraining. He knows we need to continue to protect our environment by encouraging research and investment in recycling technologies. And we need to create jobs and markets for recycled materials. There's something happening to the rural communities in New York State. They're not so rural anymore. And this transition has created its own special growing pains. While these communities are struggling to hold on to the qualities that make life so special here, they're being forced to accept the responsibilities and problems of their neighboring urban communities. That's why it's time for new leadership and representation in Albany. Joe Glazer worked his way up the hard way. He helped his father run for town supervisor in the town of Rosendale, and later helped his father run for the state senate. After Joe graduated from Ulster County Community College, he transferred to the State University in Albany. He majored in political science and then worked his way through Albany Law School by working as a legal aide in the Environmental Protection Bureau under Attorney General Robert Abrams.
I mean, we're driving our farming industry out. I think that's our biggest major concern as far as farm issues are, is that pretty soon we're not going to have any farms left in this area.
Following his graduation from SUNY Albany, Joe Glazer held a number of progressively responsible posts in the New York State Legislature. Since 1989, Joe Glazer has served as the legislative director for the New York State Association of Counties That is the organization that represents the county governments and their taxpayers in all 62 counties. In that important position, Joe learned how to build coalitions between individuals and organizations like the Farm Bureau and the Business Council of New York.
I think personally that farmers are among our greatest environmentalists. I mean, there are few people to whom the water and the land are more important than the farmers.
That's where their living comes from.
That's right.
Joe's awareness and sensitivity to the people's feeling of powerlessness led him to his decision to represent and empower our farmers, our homeowners, our small businesses, and our community and local leaders, with the belief that as individuals, they must demand more from their state government. So by now, you might have a better idea of why Joe Glazer believes the new 102nd Assembly District needs less talk from Albany and more action. If we're going to keep the quality of life that we enjoy in the communities and plan for the future, we're going to need strong leadership, new direction, and someone who truly has the desire to do the job. And that person is Joe Glazer.
Things have to change, and that a handshake and a pat on the back is not enough anymore.